All right. What's going on a Tuesday? Hope everybody is well. Just want to shout out and say happy Tuesday, y'all. Start of a new week. We're almost into February. And man, 2018 has started off sprinting. And you know, one of the things that I have to tell you guys is that this has really been a time of reflection for me and in my life. I think a lot of y'all realize how New Year makes you take things into consideration, makes you really deeply introspect into who you are and what it is you want to do in life. Often too many times trying to be something that other people have tried to tell us we should be. I think 2018 is the time we start to break free from all of this foolishness. I think 2018 is the time that we make a decision to say, you know what, people want me to be. I'm not other people's expectation of me. And more importantly, I'm not confined to another person's for me. And see, a lot of us, we've taken on roles not only in our own mindsets, but we've taken on roles in our lifestyles where we have become fixtures in lifestyles that we were never intended to be in. I mean, some of us right now, we're trying to make sense out of something that has nothing to do with us. Special shout out to my beautiful wife. Hey, what's going on? Yes, I'm telling you right now, when we think about it, I mean, really think about it. How is it that you are so deep in reality right now and you know that you're still working on you? So you're already committed, you're entrenched, you're cemented into the reality that you call your life right now, even though you know so much of your life is based on things you never even addressed. So this is why we have these shows. We talk about this together because none of us are above grade on this thing. We are all in the process of figuring it out. And I hope that we can wrestle with these things a little bit, talk about them, share the diversity of thought, but more importantly, build our truths, facts that are out here. Every Tuesday, it is a privilege, it is an honor, but more importantly, it is my pleasure to hang out with you guys. I hope that you like, I hope that you comment, I hope that you share with me, I hope that you take some time and just tell me what's good out here when we talk about these things, because one of the very first things, like one of these things where I couldn't even wait to come back and talk to you because something really strange happened to me. Somebody who always watches the news. I'm always reading the news. I'm always interacting with blogs and listening to commentaries about the news. So the strangest thing happened. I was talking to a client of mine, and mid-conversation, comment on the children, the 13 children of the Californian couple. And I didn't know what they were talking about. I was blown away that they were talking about something as compelling as what happened in that family from Texas that moved to California, and they had these 13 children. I know a lot of you know because it's mainstream news, but watch this. I did not even know about it, and I got to tell you why. And it's called news feed algorithms. See, what a lot of us don't realize is as we watch news, as we read news, as we follow various news writers and publications, there becomes an algorithm. That means that this very fluid way of giving you content starts to decide for you what things you like. Clarity. Well, see, let me explain this to you. So I do a lot of studying. I know a lot of you do studying. And oftentimes the things that I really study aren't really as contemporary in the news. Let me say this differently. Oftentimes the things that I'm studying, mainstream is not studying it at that level. So the things that I read about are watered down. Quantum theory, public policy, various things of this nature. They're typically watered down. They're not ready for Gen Pop yet. So I don't necessarily, although I'm extremely interested in them. Mississippi Gal, what's going on? So listen, I'm telling you guys that so what ends up happening now is that I don't hit the news feeds of the things I typically would watch, but more importantly, I'll click something that caught my eye. Care about it. You feel me? A lot of you know what I'm talking about. So now my news and my content is being now tailored towards this foolishness. And I want you guys to realize this. So when you start to wonder why it is that every time you turn on the news, it's something destructive, it's something that's chaotic, it's something that's violent, it's something that's scaring you, one thing I want you to realize is it's most likely because it's what you are conditioning yourself to see. And this is what I'm talking about. We have to start looking at what we are conditioning ourselves to see, because what I love about this artificial intelligence that's starting to seep into our normal recreational life, exposing us to false realities that we believe in. It's confronting us with the redundancy of specific information and not offering us the variety of people to feel connected. So I want to talk to you guys about resetting the algorithms in your life. So many of us have gotten this issue where we are so saturated with the same old, same old. What I mean is that when we look at our friend groups, they usually exemplify everything that we're trying not to do. So many of us try to create networks of people that we truly enjoy engaging with because they're stimulating, they're going in the direction you want to go, they uplift you, they help to strengthen you in areas that you feel like you need strength in. See, this thing that we talk about liking, but in actuality, the people that we surround ourselves most with are the people that fit our deeper belief system. And so I challenge you today. I really do. I challenge you to consider your reality as proof that you need to reset emotional and oftentimes spiritual algorithms. Because once we become so overwhelmed in all of that, we start to take on fear. We start to take on all of these various prejudices. We start to take on these conspiracy theories. Everything that goes against the narrative that we heard last is fake. Getting ample and equal conversation on both sides so that we can better navigate the truth like real truth seekers. And it's got everything to do with where we have imprisoned ourselves based on that. Darcy, what's good? What's good? Hope all is good with you. I'm so glad to get you on this show. So glad to have you kicking it with us. Listen, I want to talk right now about some things that personal life, you guys. Here's what's going on. I am trying my best to understand my platform. I'm going to say this to you guys so you understand. See, sometimes you have a lot of things to say, but you weren't here to talk on all those things. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you have many talents, but the talent that you were intended to use may not be the one you're using. So right now you may look up, you may see that other people are trying to obtain, you obtain them only to realize that isn't what scratches your itch. I'm going to say it to you differently. That isn't what makes you wake up with passion. Okay? A lot of us go to sleep hoping for extra hours in the night. Like the life that we wake up to the next day. Some of you, it's because of the worst of things. Because of a bad relationship. And you know what? We've all experienced bad relationships. I am just thankful that I don't live in one. And I am always deeply, deeply encouraging people to get the heck up out of one. I have to understand that these belief systems are based on the prisons that we put ourselves in. And that's the real. King No So, what's good, baby? So listen, I want to talk to you guys about the platforms that I've checked out while being here, talking and hanging out with you. When I first got on this show, it was at a time where there was a lot of political, social unrest. And the content of my show was directly stabbing at the hypocrisy that I had seen, listened to, and engaged in. And I felt like, you know what? We got to get to the truth of these things. So naturally, I was on fire because passion, whelming conversations. These are such passion-laden topics. Some of us have more than just a belief in them. Some of us have an entire ideology based on past experiences, based on current traumas, based on current restrictions. So yeah, I was naturally, but what I realized is that after a while, what are you really doing? Ultimately, all you're doing is just adding to the fire, because now you are driving the narrative that something's wrong. About how you are when you look up and everything is about something that's gone wrong, you start to look for an escape from that narrative. You start to say to yourself, it can't be all bad. Something's got to turn good. My spirit is not to dwell in the swamps of that misery. So I started to look around and try and find my platform. You know, I'm a spiritual man. Y'all know this. So I had to talk, deep talk. What am I here for? What take this on for? Because I so love it, but it has to be right. See, it has to be the things that make me excited. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. Some of the social issues, racial tension, injustices, because I've had a true reality in those areas, of course I had a voice and a reason to speak. But ultimately, when the conversation, bad, that you walk away upset, I don't feel I did what I needed to do. You guys, I don't feel like my end game was where it was supposed to be. See, because I believe that I was called to this, to be a conversationist about peace, y'all, about strategies to create peace, to relieve mental stress of false information, and to sit at the navigator seat for truth about who we are, what our purpose is, and what we do with that information. See, because truly a truth seeker realizes that there's a lot of comfort in the bliss of ignorance, but it's not enough. See, for an individual who deeply cares about the realities of life, the pursuits of truth are so compelling, it's like an addiction. Where somebody might go out and smoke crack for 8 hours, you might find yourself in coffee rooms, chat rooms. You might find yourself in libraries, engaged in study, because we're addicted to the pursuit of truth. These are the people that I talk to. I realize it's not going to be a lot, although I'm always thankful when I see so many people listen, because I know that for some of you, it's topical. You only hear the top part. Others, you hear the conversation and you hear the deeper conversation. And that's awesome. But there's a spot in truth for everybody. Truth. And as long as your truth is based on facts. So many times I listen to my 13-year-old talking. And the very first thing he'll say out of his mouth is false facts. False facts. See, he's living in a world where he understands that there will be people of strong repute that will tell you something that is flat out wrong. See, I want you to understand that your children are aware of something that you've been aware of, but you've offered yourself shelter. See, that shelter is called cognitive dissonance. See, you've allowed yourself to believe what you know is not true in order for you to maintain a life that wasn't true for you. Why there's so much bitterness and unhappiness. There's something called an ACE score, Okay, an ACE score was set up for the Center of Disease Control. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, but ultimately the ACE score determines how many toxic situations you had to endure as a child. Now I'm gonna walk this really slow to you guys. The Center for Disease Control has a test that is determined to see how many tragic things happened in your life. They have 10 categories. 10 categories, from sexual assault to poverty to an alcoholic parent to a death of a loved one. All these different categories. And you know why they do it? Do you know why the Center for Disease Control does it? Because they have now linked trauma to illness, trauma to heart disease, trauma to cancers, trauma to diabetes, stroke. See, what I want you to understand, what I want you to get at is the imperative responsibility to know your truth and to navigate from a false life. Your life depends on it. And see, the way, and this is a good question, Raina, the way that you find your truth is by going to the deep. See, one of the problems that I had, and we'll talk about this a little bit, problems that I've always had with deep conversations is that we sometimes think that deep means in the brain. Understand who we are. We don't understand be a person. See, we are deeper than our brains can decode. Our emotions are so deep that we don't have the right words in the brain to express them. You're not going to find your truth in a brain. Sometimes they say, quiet the mind and the soul will speak. And so many of us are soul searching in the brain and it ain't there, causing us this overwhelming anxiety. We know we have to break free, but we can't. So then we go and lose weight because we think our problem is weight, when in actuality, it's not the weight. The weight is just a symptom. Or we think it's these abusive relationships. No, these are symptoms of the real problem. This awareness comes from a deep faith, comes from a spiritual awakening, which is a calling. Like I know some of you have been called out, have been called to step up. It's strange because it intimidating. More importantly, you can completely misread what you thought you heard. When the deep speaks to deep, it's not words. It tells you you have been spoken to. Your mind tries to fathom what your spirit just received, and you come up with words ever so quickly, like an ouch after a pain. But the ouch didn't clearly define the pain. It was just the best your brain could do to articulate your situation. So I say to you, when the deep speaks to deep, you'll know your truth. But we have to move away. See, I've known this, and I know that the Most High know that I'm sent for that. Then I try to find the right platform. Y'all know what it's like when you're extremely connected to the spirit, but you can't navigate well through religion. And this has caused me some serious hardships, y'all. Most of the people that I have a hard time working with never read his beliefs. And I do, because I'm a truth seeker. And I also know that in every one of these truths, there's a path to understanding your own divinity. But see, we're taught to find divinity on the outside, even though all of those have teaches you your divinity is on the inside. So when we talk about this fusion that the whole world seems to be in, it's because we are always looking never at. We're always thinking that somehow it's in the next book I read, the next video I watch, I engage in. When the reality is that you had divine awareness before you met another person. But we're taught to depersonalize it. See, and this is the reason why I've always studied all the great philosophies, all the great writings spoke in the spirit to the divine. But I also respect and understand when it tried to be translated and we sometimes misunderstood the greater point. See, y'all, the reality is if your spirit ain't right, then the outside ain't gonna be right. Because you're gonna spend too much time trying to do things that don't bring you the true happiness. You got a calling in life. See, like me, I tried to go the religious route because I was called spiritually. But then I realized that's not what was set for me. That's not what I was sent here for. Understand in your own walk, man. February is about to be month number 2. Month number 2, y'all. 2018. What are we doing and where are we going? I had a conversation with an organization on the South Side, Inglewood, public policy, y'all. Trying to talk about some real public policy to try to create and affect change where it mattered most. And you know what I find out ultimately is that there's a huge, huge misunderstanding of policy and politics. When you start trying to talk to people about policy, they immediately start giving you the company line politics. And I hope that my family out here, truth seekers, understand no way in the world you can have a political voice if you don't understand policy. So many of us, we do what has been done in the White House right now. We elect personalities. We are all jumping around trying to find the right personality instead of looking at the policies that create the change that we need and then finding the right creators. I'm judging this situation because I want us to understand where we make our mistake. Let's stop looking at personalities. Let's stop being swept into politics. And let's start looking at policy. See, when I was talking with these people, I realized a lot of us don't even know what policies we want. We want change, but we don't understand change is not a conversation. It's a strategy. And when you strategize, you have to really look at some serious things. What is really possible? What is really likely? So I hope you guys get involved with some community stuff, but more importantly, don't get involved at the political level. I know some of you are diehard Democrats or diehard Republicans or diehard liberals, whatever you are, fine. Just make sure that you have the integrity to say that you are fundamentally connected with the policies, not the politics. Because when I talk to these people, I was talking to them mostly as people who were connected by a spiritual base, spiritual desire to help anybody, to help everybody. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care if you're of an alternative sexuality. Not a deal. My deal is that as a member of this, I have no other choice but to see the me in you. So that if ever it is me and it was you to help, I will have already instilled that emotional love of energy. And I know some of y'all might say, wow, that's a lot. But the reality is, you know what? What I've noticed is the people who make it in life long term are the ones who utilize the heart. They live by the spirit. The people who they seem to be doing well right now and everybody know it was bogus. See, we grew up in the neighborhood. We know that doesn't last. It looks good when it looks good, but it dies out too. So I'm hopeful you guys understand that. We talked about that last week, but I don't think I really hit that strong enough to understand when you don't embrace who you are, sadly, we never get to who we're supposed to be. Bottom line on that. I was just looking at an article. I think some of y'all have checked this out too. I was looking at an article where it said Barack Obama and the picture that could have cost him his election, cost him his legacy. I watched this. I read this article. It was in the Root. And it basically talked about how Barack Obama had a picture with Louis Farrakhan. And if that picture would have been exposed, the wrench that sealed his failure. We look at personalities. And if a person fits the personality we want, we assume they have all the other pieces. So in order to protect Barack Obama's legacy, they didn't allow this picture out until, I guess, just recently. But I think everybody here, I think we all understand at the end of the day, a politician needs to be respected or discredited based on their ability to create the effective policy desperately needed when we elected them. So if you, any of you, feel as though you have gotten that from any elected official, well, then I have the greatest respect for that. That's your personal choice. In my opinion, the reason why I have never went the route of politics, the reason why I will never be a politician, and I say never with spiritual truth. At the end of the day, every single politician elbows with somebody who has absolutely no integrity. See, and what you don't understand is that policies is going to have one. And a policy is like their baby, right? But see, in order for you to have your baby birthed, you got to sleep around. And see, that's where all these political STDs come about. And what I'm talking about are these massive skeletons of toxic behavior, of terrible policies. Because if I got something I need passed, I'm going to have to mess around and get somebody else, because we all know in order for you to pass anything, you've got to have a specific amount of support. Is going to be of the same integrity. You know, there's going to be a lot of people who have no integrity, and these are the people you got to rub elbows with. And when you're rubbing elbows with these people, it's the reason why I can't do politics. Most High didn't put me here for that, y'all. So I just want y'all to know, no matter what in life, if you ever heard that I was running for something, I was running from it, not to it. Trust me on that. CG, what's going on? See, what I wanted to know, and I know so many of us want to know, is where do I fit in the conversation? See, there's some truths that I need y'all to hear me on. First off, truth number one, I'm a spiritual person. Truth number two, I cannot be chained to the day-to-day drama that so many people talk on. It's just not interesting to me. Because see, when you study things in life, when you study the pains that you have, you miss the reasons behind it. See, you got people who are what you call, they're small thing thinkers. And then there's large thing thinkers. You know, you're a big picture person. You're a little picture person. See, that's thing. See, because if you're somebody who's always so hyper focused on the issue, see what created it. See, because what we have to understand in life is part of the reason we're trapped and not going where we want to go. We're committing ourselves to the same poisonous circle that's keeping us confined in our own foolishness. This is what I got to talk about, This is the thing that most people don't want to talk about. See, because one thing I learned a long time ago is if I want to have a conversation with you about the amount of things that somebody else did to us, I can't get enough of you guys to turn me off. But when I want to talk to you about the things that we are doing to ourselves, crickets. That's why they say the real road, the true road, the road to righteousness. Because everybody's willing to do something if somebody else has to do it. We love the Jesus story because he took care of everything. But if you read Jesus's words, you'd realize that's not what he was talking about. That's what everybody else said after he was gone. And these are the things that I had to talk about to all of you. And that is bottom line. You have to clean your spirit up. You got to clean your spirit up so that you have the wherewithal and the clarity to clean up your mind. Why I'm talking to y'all about this is because let's just kill this conversation of who bringing it. We know at this point, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get stronger. We're trying to get smarter. We're tired of having the same shackles, garbage, the same drama, the same excuses. But we have to keep it real on why this is happening. See, some of you think it's because of money, but I know something. Money only helps the money issues. See, no matter what you do, you get $10 more, you get $10 more worth of. Matter of fact, you may end up with $15 worth of things you got to buy, end up 5 in a hole. And that's what you were doing good with. What I've learned is a person who understands that everything they ever need, they came with, well, that person experiences richness that money do or take away. But when you have that ability to see the richness in yourself, then you are truly, truly on your way. Richness on the outside. See, we had to prove to people that we're rich. We got to go buy the best car. We got to go buy the best clothes. We got to go do all these things to impress people that really don't care about you at all. And in the end, you know what's so sick? Is that by doing that, you're showing you don't care about you either. And we got to stop this. We got to stop this before 2018 gets the best of us. Some of us are living in a life right now, or know a family member, a friend living in a life right now they're trying to get out of. Now, you're wondering to yourself, the reality is the best thing you could possibly do. Tammy, what's good? The best thing you could possibly do. Life that shows the right path. See, because too many times we think that what we need to do is give somebody something. That's because, see, our country has always tried to marginalize our responsibilities of fixing things by just spreading a little sympathy over it. What I'm talking about. I grew up in the projects and living in the projects. They weren't trying to help you they were just trying to make poverty more doable. See, they weren't trying to invest into grow you out of poverty. No, to blame somebody else so that they can get more money to throw in there to keep you down. They weren't trying to build family relationships so that you had the 2-parent household. They were offering you opportunities to get rid of somebody so you didn't have to take that somebody seriously. And it's divided and killed our people, the American people. See, what we don't understand is that the inner city has never been set up to see you succeed. See, the best you could possibly hope for is survival. Of course, you're going to have an anomaly. See, I always say if you dropped 100 people in the middle of the ocean, one of them would find a way to shore. Some shore, some way. That's because of the human phenomenon. But when that one person makes it, that doesn't mean everybody should have. It doesn't mean everybody could have. And we judge the sicknesses in our society with the slight-handedness of knowing one or two people made it. The amount of success that I had compared to the amount of education, the amount of inherited opportunity, for a lot of people, they're highly impressed. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it wouldn't mean a thing if I was doing something I didn't love. See, when you find people who are truly successful, way to give to the world and receive twofold in themselves. See, and this is the love that I hope each of you experience in your life. But you can't do it just self-serving. The only reason you have that job is to pay a bill. See, because it shows a limited faith. It shows that you didn't really want to step out and be who you are supposed to be. Some of us are being blindsided by that right now. I talked to a person, she was 320 pounds, and she wanted to know how to lose weight because she can't walk up the stairs. And you know what? And my heart was, I want to help her. But the reality is that the reason she can't go up the stairs is not because she's 300 something pounds. It's because she has a belief system that she has no true divinity in her. She has no true happiness in her. She has no true belief that not only the food she's eating, not only the depression she's experiencing, but she's better than the cigarettes she's smoking too. And see, some of us, we're trying to fix one thing, not realizing that the real thing holding us back, we won't even address. I'm challenging you. Truth seekers, step out. Let's start knocking these problems out one at a time. See, sometimes you can get overwhelmed, y'all, get really overwhelmed because you feel like, I've got so many problems. But see, just knock out one at a time. One at a time. Some of us don't realize, see, if you ever wrote down all your problems, you'd narrow it down to just two that were the worst. You know the first. That's the ones you knock out. You see? So I'm hopeful that right now you feel that empowerment, that divine calling to fix your life, happiness that you need simply by going inside of you and pointing out the things that you're not comfortable with. See, you've been on this road long enough to know how the car is supposed to drive, feel me? And so with that being said, you have to take on the ownership to custom your experience. Too many times we're driving the factory model because we didn't think we were worthy of the upgrade. See, but the upgrade happens, and I'm hopeful that we are pimped out by our own doing. So you guys, every Tuesday, I just want to remind y'all, we talk about things. Now we talk about everything. We talk about politics, truths. Man, I talk quantum physics. I talk everything, y'all. I love to conversate about the real truths. But it doesn't matter. See, you'll miss me what it's really all about. At the end of the day, what it's really all about is that when you are from a spiritual awareness, you're already connected. You're already there. See, like the pinky has no awareness of the thumb, like the cell has no idea of the abilities of the person. You don't know your divinity because you are locked into your flesh. You don't understand that when you step outside, you become inside of the greater truth, the greater self, the greater you. See, don't be so limited living in your bedroom. See the rest of the house. I challenge y'all, start studying your Bibles, your Qurans. Start studying them and find the truth in there that a lot of you have been scared of. See, because if your preacher won't talk about it, then you probably won't learn it. See, but our people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Our people perish because they don't understand the message was not from the messenger. It was that the messenger got the message. When you understand that, you become alive. See, when the Spirit of the Lord is on me, the rest of the people said, oh, it's happening like that. He could be on me too. They didn't say, well, man, well, what did he say? No, he already said, the Spirit of the Lord is on me. We all communicate. Deep speaks to deep. Shortcut. Take the true route. True seek. About y'all, and a lot of y'all know it. See, a lot of y'all know that when you got a real problem and your spirit is talking, man, you don't even know the words it's saying. You just know the feeling that the communication is real. Some of y'all stuck on the flesh. I don't care if your belief is, wherever your belief is, it doesn't matter. Just don't limit it to that. That's all I'm asking y'all. Okay, when I say don't limit it to that, see, some of y'all, I'm telling you, one time I had a conversation with a person, I won't tell you what denomination or what religion they were in, but I said to them, I said, if God came and told you that the book you're reading is wrong, you wouldn't know who to believe. You'd have to read your book to see. Kind of tripping. Okay? Spirit. Deep talks to deep. You hear the great spiritual teachers, they tell you, my sheep know my voice. The strangers they will not follow. He didn't say he knows my font, knows my King James. But some of us will get it. We'll understand. Then we will create the awareness where the outside makes more sense because the inside has been revealed. See, this is truth seeking. Some of y'all, this might be a little too deep for you, and I understand that. But a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. See, a lot of y'all aren't satisfied. You want the inner truth. You don't want to have what all the crowd heard because they was really in it just for the fish and the bread. You want to get the real truth, spiritual nourishment. Well, that comes from within. That doesn't come from anywhere else. But see, you have to start to look at your life from that perspective. See, check this out. Check what I'm saying. Is if you're only seeing things the way that you know has not created you the change you want, then you have to look at it from that perspective. You have to ask yourself, if something is weak in your life, whose job is it to fix it? If there's confusion, if there's ignorance, whose job? Some people just wait on the Lord. The Lord ain't waiting. He's giving you everything you need to fix every problem you have. Some of you think, oh, my son was shot. There's no God. Come on, man. See, what y'all don't understand is we didn't get here when we was born, and we don't leave here when we go. But when all you know is the material, when all you know is the thing you call you, even though you have no idea what that you is, well, then you'll always be lost. The pinky will never understand it's part of the hand. The hand will never know that it's part of the arm. The arm will never know that there is a brain that makes everything better because you stuck in your own space and it's not real. I'm challenging y'all, 2018, we're going to get deep on this stuff because, if you can't that talk, then this might be a little hard for you. But I encourage you, stick around anyways. I remember a comedian say, laugh anyways and figure the joke out when you get home. See, you don't want to be the one to start laughing in the middle of the joke. You already laughed even though you didn't hear it, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Receive it before you can believe it, because then you can scrutinize it, kick the wheels on it, do your due diligence, check for your own truth, and then liberate yourself. See, so many of us, we want to know, what book can we read? What website can we check to? But the reality is that you have to go inside, close down the brain where all the beliefs, the false ones, are ruling your mind. Shut those down. Get away from them. Don't try to make them go away. Make sure you understand you are not connected to them. See, the very first level of the matrix is realizing you are not connected to it. You hold on to it. See, the matrix is the mindset. It's not this weird thing that goes on into all this foolishness. It is the deep awareness of letting go. When you let go of what's not real, the only thing left is real. See, when you get out of the conversations at the water cooler, you realize the water cooler conversation happened with or without you. They're not you. When you see the drama going on the telephone, was going to be picked up and talked about with somebody, regardless if you were there or not, you realize the drama is not you. When you realize this abusive person that you call your boyfriend is going to be abusive in somebody else's life, with or without you, you realize it's a friend. It's not you. You're living a lie. When you realize that your life is causing you to overeat, your way of thinking is causing you depression, and you'll understand you are not what you thought you were, but whatever you think you are. I want to challenge y'all because I care about you. And not only do I care about you, I deeply believe that we can fix this thing. Chris, what's good, baby? I deeply believe that we need to understand how to build each other up. See, one of the things that blow my mind is when I once tried to find this word called love. See, y'all know how you're taught to use the word love, but love, especially amongst us, has a certain connotation. It's kind of muddy. It comes with a lot of set off and a lot of overtone. So I don't like that word. I was talking to somebody and I said, there's a derivative to that word. See, to love something. So, well, what do you know without question you love? Well, we love ourselves. And see, when you understand that you are not limited to yourself, but that you are part of an energy that permeates inside of you, outside of you, inside of the other yous, inside of all of you, then you will see. I'll never forget talking to this one deep, deep spiritual brother who's talked to people. But, you know, as he got older, he kind of let go of this belief that he was whatever he thought he was. And he said one day, he said, when I look at y'all, I see the divine. And the divine is so real. To whom am I supposed to preach? See, when you can see God in everyone, you realize your words are limited. It's your actions that affect the change that you want. It's your actions that give people the confidence that they can be what they want to be, because your testimony is your life, is the way you interact. Not when you feel like it, man, when you have to, every single moment. You know, if one has bad thoughts and good deeds, the deeds are good, but the person is corrupt. See, we have to start taking the responsibility of working on the inner person. We have parts of our personality that no longer serve us. And when we let go of those things that no longer serve us, watch this, we'll let go of the people that no longer serve us too. See, because there are lessons and blessings. We are quick to thank God for the blessing, but we curse him. Swear he ain't real for the lesson. And, you know, we got to work on that. I'm hopeful, y'all, because together we can build each other up. But when you realize that that spirit that you call yourself spiritual, see, that's a walk. That's a walk into a place you have to understand, because if you are spiritual, that means you're part of the body. You are no longer just your body, but indeed, you are part of the greater body. This is truth seeking. This is real. See, because when you are forced to see things from that perspective, what will you say? When you realize that this time on earth as a spiritual being is temporary. Think about it, y'all. I'm talking to the inner you, not your personality. You know, people forget that every word that we use has a definition. You know about your personality? You know, that's a Greek word. That's what you would call the actor's mask. On the Greek stage, that's your persona. That's just the act. Realize this entire thing that we call ourselves, this investment into this personality is not real. When you step away from that, how easily you can get it the way you want it. You've got people who spend millions of dollars trying to develop themselves from the outside, listening to people who learned how to develop themselves and now charge lots of money by fixing it from the inside. I mean, if this isn't a paid channel, I'm telling you for free. We got this. All right, but we got to reset our spiritual, mental, and emotional algorithms. See, if all you ever gonna be is an oppressed person in America, every time you look at yourself, you have to see yourself through the guise of oppression. Every time you see another person who looks like you automatically condemn them as oppressed. And every time you see someone who doesn't look like you automatically crown them with success. You cannot allow people to control what goes on in your brain because you are the only reaction to those thoughts. Strengthen yourself. Believe in a deeper, truer you. You are not your experiences, but you experience things. Too many times we'll do something and it turns out right or wrong. And because of that experience, we build a like, a love, or a hatred for that thing. She smiled at me. Oh, now I love her. But if she didn't smile at you, you'd have never liked her. It might have. That's another problem. So anyways, you guys, I'm just, kicking it with y'all today because today I wanted to just spend time, my heart to your heart, talking to you, talking about the things that mean something. Because, listen, I'm not going to be talking about celebrities. I'm not going to be talking about daily drama. I'm never going to be the one trying to make it seem like blacks are constantly the oppressed, the sad ones, the ones that need everybody's help, needs to make everything woe is me. I'm not that guy. Not going to do it. You know why? Because I see past that illusion. See, I know that the person who claims to be a victim has already changed their reality perspective, not only for themselves, but they've also hammered down the possibility of being liberated in the spirit by how they've allowed oppression to create a baggage on their person. See, you will never get that from me. I won't do that. See, I won't overburden you with religion because I understand that religion was a person's conversation after they experienced the divine. I want you to experience the divine so that you are without need for any religion. See, because God has proven in every religion that if you deeply, deeply seek God, he'll tell you everything you need to know. You ain't gonna get it hanging out drinking, hanging out talking crazy, having all these mixed up expectations in your life. But when you purify your spirit, man, the conversations never stop. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm no perfect person, but I've removed so much imperfection that I see a second layer. I'm celebrating the first layer gone, y'all, but the second layer is real. We keep walking it because by man, by technique, by strategy, nothing's possible. Spiritual, divine, man, that stuff will be removed, no problem at all. If you step out on faith, if you realize who you are and what you're supposed to do. You know, Tuesday is a true Seekrz day, and I look forward to the next one. I thank you for this one. Guys, help me spread the word about this show. I want you to like, comment, share. Leave some comments, y'all, because I'll be looking at this until next week. Always chatting back. It's your boy, Tone Duncan, Truth Seekers.